That will be episode number 6. Today we have really a prominent scholar, Linda Iltis. So we are about to be live. I think we are live now. Zojalapa, namaskar, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you are, please accept my. So on behalf of All Neva Organized and USA chapter, we have been, doing this e-heritage every first Saturday morning. So morning in the sense that in the United States, but if you are in Europe, as well as if you are in Nepal, yes, it will be accordingly. So thank you so much for overwhelming support, overwhelming responses, and all the positive vibes that you guys have been sending. So today, on behalf of All Neva Organized and USA chapter, I welcome you all. And today, yes, we have one of the prominent scholar whom I personally also wanted from a long time to, have her presentation, Linda Iltis. So that Linda is not the new name in the field of Neva heritage. So she has been really as a well-known figure. So, but I have some of the bios that I would like to, read so that, I can introduce her nicely. So let me just introduce Linda Iltis we have today. So Dr. Linda began her 46-year career as a Nepal scholar at the age of 19. First learning Nepali, then researching and publishing in ethno-historical study of Bandipur Bazar, the hometown of her Nepali professor, Krishna Bhai Pradhan, who is now in Madison, Wisconsin. Thanks to the generous hospitality and friendship of Krishna and his wife Vishnu, her mother and her sister Jamuna, Linda attended Swasthani Brata Katha recitation in their home in Madison, Wisconsin, and learned about the Swasthani Brata tradition, the stories and recitation practice, ultimately translating Swasthani Brata Katha and elucidating the strong role of women in ritual practice in Nepal became the focus of her PhD dissertation, and future studies of Neva, literary and religious traditions and ritual performance. During her field research in 1981 to 1983, while translating the late Achyutananda Rajopadhyaya's Neva edition of Swasthani Dharma Bratakatha, Linda was advised by many Nepalese scholars and friends to spend time in the town of Sakhu, where, according to Katha, the Sali Nadi river flows and where Apsaras enlighten Chandravati, a sinful woman, about the virtues and blessings to be obtained from reciting the goddess Swasthani stories and performing the Vrata, and where even the Nagas and Naginis were reunited by the Swasthani Prasad floating in that river. The late Saptamuni Vajracharya also recommended she explore a connection between Swasthani Katha and the ritual drama Jalapyakha of Harisiddhi. Jalapyakha will be the topic of today's presentation. For Linda, Sakhu, Harisiddhi, and the Kathmandu Valley and Bandipur became her Swasthana due to the gracious hospitality and loving assistance of so many families, scholars, and teachers. She studied Nepal Bhasha with the late Ratnakaji Vajracharya, the late Manigopal Jha, and Paramananda Vajracharya, and regularly studied literature and manuscripts with Prem Bahadur Kansakar, Asakaji Pandit Vajracharya, and Kasinath Tamod. Linda's ongoing work on Neva culture includes extensive historical manuscript analysis, video documentation, and research with ritual specialist and performer of Jalapyakha, Pachali Vairab Pyakha, Sikali Pyakha, Deo Mazu traditional healers, Hindu and Buddhist rituals of Nepal, and Shamanism. Her interdisciplinary Publications feature studies of goddesses, space, place, and identity, women's agency and identity in Nepal, expressive culture, ritual performance, and spirit possession. See author a textbook, Introduction to Old Religions, Eastern Traditions, for a University of Washington online learning program, and has published numerous articles on goddess traditions and ritual dance drama of Nepal. With the hope of sharing and publishing more of her research, Linda recently retired from University of Washington in Seattle, Washington, after serving 28 years in administration and as a lecturer for comparative religion and South Asian studies programs. She earned her BA and MA in anthropology and her doctorate in South Asian civilization and culture from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So regarding the publications, she has so many publications, but the recent ones, just let me give you a couple of her publications. In 2011, she did Seeing the Unseen, the Dance of the Harisiddhi Gods. That was published in e-Daboo Souvenir, Group 36 Youth Club, Jagadamba Press, Nepal. In 2010, she did Retheorizing Religion in Nepal by Gregory Price Grieve, reviewed by Linda Iltis, Himalaya, the Journal of the Association for Nepal and Himalayan Studies, volume 28, number 1, article 12. Similarly, she has so many remarkable publications that if I start mentioning those, then it may take long. So not to taking a long time, I would like to, yes, invite Linda and request for her presentation. So Linda, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Jojalapa, thank you so much for your introduction, and thank you everyone who's here. It's so nice to see all your faces, and I'll get started right away. So, oops, I have to make sure I share screen properly here. So let's see. Share. Okay. What do you see now? Do you just see my PowerPoint?
Yeah, I see the Jalapyakha, your PowerPoint, but if you can just enlarge and go and top and just click that, the small square, yeah. Okay. Yeah, now it's much better.
That's better? Okay.
Yep, great.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to be talking mostly about the Jalapyakan tradition and about the masked gods and the dance drama and how they interact. So one of my favorite quotes comes from a children's song that was told to me by Paramananda Vajracharya. In Newari, it goes, Sway moru pyakan svo svo, sway moru kane moru sa jakatayadu, todune sunano hekalini. And it means look at the dance that you can't be seen, can't watch it, can't see it, only a voice is heard. Who is making this happen inside of me? And that is such a wonderful idea, such a great quote, because it really describes a lot of what we see in the Newar dance traditions, where there's an intimate connection with the god. And in some cases, the god comes in and takes over. Sometimes it's more controlled in an interaction. So I want to start with who are the gods? And in Harisiddhi, it's really the Dyojus, who are priests, who are the actual gods. And you know, we might think, well, no, they're just inhabited by the gods, which in a sense is true, but they are considered to be gods. If we look at the mass dances, and we see that you see Ramchandra, who's the hero of the Hindu epic Ramayana, but you don't see the Dyoju. You don't see the god who's behind that mask. And the Dyojus are really the ones who are making the dance happen. And the dances are about many things in Harisiddhi, unlike some of the other dance dramas you find in Kathmandu Valley, which have the Navadurga or the Ashtamatrika, or some of them have the Gampyakan, which is also Ashtamatrika. Harisiddhi has often been confused, and they say, oh yeah, it's Ashtamatrika dances out there. But that's not what happens in Harisiddhi. These are all, many of them are local, the gods that relate to the local geography. Then you have Ramayana stories and some other things. So it's important to keep in mind the nature of the Harisiddhi dances in that light. And you could look at different, try to figure out all the different stories in Jalapyakam, but I think the other important thing to realize is that for the Dyojus who participate, they're 29, there's an inner side to the story. There's an inner meaning. And that is primarily Nasadyo. Nasadyo, they have to get the Siddhi from Nasadyo. They get, and Nasadyo, if you consider who that is, it's primarily Nityanat or Mahadev, the dancing Mahadev, but he's also has Ganesh and Bhairav associated. And that's a very inner part of the dance that most people don't see, because Nasadyo, in a sense, is not a visual deity. He's sort of a hole in the wall in many of the shrines. So here's a picture. This was in 1982 when I first went to Harisiddhi. And it was a 12-year mela for going to Pulchok Mountain, which is really high, but it's above Harisiddhi. And that is actually the reason they go there, is because that is where the deities came from for the Jalapyakam. They were brought by the tantric Rajapadya Gayajuju from the summit of Pulchok down to Patan area and to Harisiddhi. But he had to bring them down. He had to sort of pull them down with his energy. So here you see, this was also a long time ago, 1987, but you can see the Harisiddhi temple sticking up above the town of Harisiddhi, and in the background is Pulchok Mountain. And Pulchok is one of 4 sacred mountains in the valley. There's Pulchok Maju, Dilchok Maju, Sipucho, and what's the other one? Nagarjuna? Anyway, so if you look at a map, they are relative to Harisiddhi, left and right here. And then you have Manjushri, who was actually married to those two. But to go back to Pulcho, and what it brings to Harisiddhi is water and very, very fertile agriculture. And according to Kedar, he was saying that it's really the most fertile farmland in the valley of Kathmandu, more so than many of the other towns and villages. It's extremely fertile, and it gets like double the rice harvest of many other places. And so you see here people at harvest time winnowing the rice and drying it and preparing it. Again, this is back in 1987. And in the foreground is the largest kichapukuri here, kichapuku in Harisiddhi. So the agriculture is very strong in Harisiddhi. It's what's brought wealth and been able to support the dances there. But the lands for Harisiddhi were actually are mostly endowed lands from kings who set them up, and there's Guti support for the lands quite a bit. And now, even if it isn't farmed, maybe being leased for other purposes, it's still very large amount of land, and has helped to make the dance tradition keep going. In addition to being performed in Harisiddhi, Jaladesh is also performed in Kathmandu and Patan and Bhaktapur, and even as far away as Dholka. So you can see here a picture of a Daboo specifically made and dedicated to Harisiddhi in the town of Dholka. And that's still there, I think. This was back in 1988, I believe. And the Dyocham for them is in the background there in white. There's still a small shrine for Harisiddhi inside there. So this is also the 12-year cycle, and it's only really during, I think, the 12-year cycle, well, just a year after that, that they will start going on some pilgrimages, or not pilgrimages, but they'll perform. They'll be invited to different towns around the valley, again, to perform, but they don't do it all the time. It's usually just close to that 12-year time frame. So this is what you might encounter, or maybe would have encountered some years ago, if you were to walk in and on the day of the Harisiddhi Jaladesh performance. A very rich array of colors and masks and music, and people worshiping and enjoying the time there at the temple grounds in front of the Harisiddhi temple. And it's such a rich tradition. It's very captivating, and the masks are so unique, and the costumes and everything. You'll see a man in the foreground there. He's wearing the curtain. This is for the dance drama, so to introducing at the beginning of each performance, each scene. They come out with this curtain, the gachi, and the beta, who has this role, is the one who holds it on his shoulders and then takes it away, and the scene begins. You also see in this picture the bells on the dancers' feet, and that's a very important part of the initiation process for the Dyoju. There's a Gangara Siddhi, they call it. It's a bell, the Siddhi of the bells. So go on to this. And so when I first was recommended to go there by Saptamuni Bajracharya, this was really early in my dissertation research. It's like within a month of arriving in Nepal there to begin Swastani research. I met with Saptamuni Bajracharya. He was at the National Academy, and he said, well, if you're interested in drama things, maybe you should go see Harisiddhi, because I think they have Swastani stories that they perform there. I said, oh, okay. And I found Rajendra Shrestha was one of his cohorts, and he said, "I'll take you there. Let's go." And then immediately at the Fulbright office, the the secretaries there said, "Oh, Linda, don't go. It's dark. It'll be at night, and you shouldn't go. You're alone as a woman." I said, "Oh, I'll be all right." Then they had all these horror stories, and it's really too bad that there used to be anyway. Scary stories. I think even the Jesuit priests used to scare little kids and say, well, we're going to give you to the Harisiddhi man. Anyway, it's ironic because this very deity here who comes down is one of the first ones, Tamnadya Rikishwar. He's actually one that women will go specifically to see the Pyakam because of his, he will ensure that they have the birth of a son. And so the first person who gets to bow to Tamnadya is the one who will certainly get a pregnancy. And Tamana is when you're pregnant to be able to sustain Tamana, know how to describe that, but it's like a secure pregnancy. So if anything, it's very pro-life, Harisiddhi, and a beautiful set of dances and so on. But then there are other stories. So there are stories about that they used to perform Jalapyakam for 3 months running. And that's a long time to be performing dances every day, day in and day out. And obviously at a certain point, they couldn't do that because it was just taking up so much time. And as one Dioju said, not even a dog would watch. And it's not just that one Dioju. I think a lot of people will say that when they think about those times. So there are 29 Diojus of Harisiddhi. They are broken up into 2 different categories, or maybe 3, you could say. There are basically, this is the Diojus walking in the town in a line. And so when they go for certain events, they actually have to put a cloth down and they walk along this cloth through the village to different locations. And this one is called Takali Luigu, where they're actually being brought with the white cloth in a line. They normally, once they become a priest, a Dioju, they will wear the white cloth like this all the time. So they're very dedicated practitioners. And so the roles break down into, jumped ahead. The roles break down into 10 chabu, and they have roles that don't really change in any way. Those are fixed roles that they take on when they're initiated. And then they also have, then there are the other 19 gods or Diojus who play different roles that change every 12 years, usually. And so the chabu include some of the people you see here. They're ones who play some of the lead instruments and play some of the lead roles in the dance. And so you could kind of think about it in terms of lineages. The 3 Mudyo, who are Balandyo, Mudyo, and Kumaridyo. And the central Mudyo has different interpretations, but and then Ganesh. So those 4 are really the Mudyo for Harisiddhi, and collectively the 3 are known as Tri Shakti. But on the left, Balandyo is also referred to as Harisiddhi, and on the right, Kumari is also Rudra Kumari, and Mudyo Adi Shakti. Mudyo is, well, we'll talk about her later. And then you have two servants or attendants. One of them carries the kalash, which is the representation of the deity outside of the shrine. We bring the kalash down during the dances and take it to the Nasache or Nasadyo place, Niba, in the town. And then the other gentleman here carries the kikimpa for the kalash and is also financial, responsible for financial things. There's also the curtain bearer we mentioned. And then there are the other 19 gods go through different sorts of lineages, sort of. They can start out as sort of children of the Kishi, the elephant god, or they might be what do you call it? Dicha students of another senior god. And at some point they come and become part of Kishi. They help dance the Kishi, the elephant god, and then they resume and start learning the trumpets and mantra and help with the singing. Here's a close-up of the two attendants. And I'm showing you this because one of the Diojus, at least, was telling me the story about the two dogs. And he said Kicha, and I don't know whether he meant to say Dincha, but in Nasadyo, there are always two dogs at the bottom of a Nasadyo painting. Well, not always, but often you find them there. They're like servants to Nasadyo. And I think it's just another way of thinking of them. So the Kishi is a huge mask, unprecedented, I would say, in the Kathmandu Valley. Maybe I think there are a few other Kishi masks around the valley, but I think Harisiddhi's is one of the largest out there and very unique in its iconography if you look at it. The two eyes and the third eye above, and then in the center here is of the trunk where the nose begins. That's Nasadyo. So there's a mask manuscript for Harisiddhi. I don't know where it is, but I received a copy of it from a colleague and a photocopy of it. And I was really grateful to get that. So I could tell from this, it confirmed a lot of the names of the deities and the iconography. And you'll see how, even though this is an older manuscript, they're maintaining the iconography quite well in the trauma. So one of the things they have to learn as Jojus is the language of the gods, and it's in the songs that both this set of musicians that are playing in front of the dance platform sing, and also on the ponga and in the drums. They all have boli that are meaningful, but it's not one for one understanding that the audience would normally know. But people get to know the music, and it's remarkably consistent and accurate. I mean, it doesn't change from year to year. It really is a very precise performing art tradition. And of course, the judges learn the meaning of the songs when they're getting trained in private. And then once you learn your tradition, and the next 12 years, you might pass it on to the next person who takes on your role, and you move on to learn from your teacher, take on their role. So it progresses through every 12 years. So you may not know all the meaning until you get to be pretty old, when you start to know more, put things together. The Kishi has 2 children that are born from his ears. I think in this one you can see these deities on either side of in the manuscript. And those are Karna and Keshari. And they get born out of the ears of Nasadyo as children. So you'll see this pattern of sort of guru shishya in a lot of the scenes that are performed, which also mirrors what you have in Nasadyo traditions, where you have students learning from teachers and a sort of a lineage, ongoing lineage. The Karna and Keshari, some would say, is they would also become Ganesh's wives, Riddhi and Siddhi. And it's interesting because Kishi is kind of like an emanation of Nasadyo, and having 2 children that then go on to be connected with Ganesh. Ganesh is Siddhi, Nasadyo is Siddhi. So there's these parts of Siddhi coming through here all over the place. There's another scene of a character called Taku Taku, and this is a fairly unusual one, but these are also two students of Taku Taku. And there have been a couple people who said that this might be Taraka the demoness and her 2 children, Subahu and Maricha. And could be, but we don't have a lot of people saying that. But in the next, one of the scenes that comes up after that, you have Ramchandra and Lake, or Maricha Lake, and Ramchandra defeats Lake in the dance. Lake comes, and because Ramchandra is doing a fire sacrifice, and there's an oil lamp, a standing oil lamp that they bring out onto the lachi, and the Lake will come, is attracted by the smoke from the fire sacrifice, and when he sees the fire, he tries to put out the fire to disrupt Rama. And so Ramchandra then, after Laki knocks out the light, then Ramchandra comes and fights him. Okay, then there's another, we mentioned that the curtain that they use is a feature of classical Sanskrit drama. But there's another one with Nagana, who he's like a narrator or kanima, and he tells the 6 stories, 6 secret songs about what the scenes are that will come up in the drama. He actually comes on earlier in the morning, but he's almost like a sutradhara, and he's telling the stories to the woman there who's like a shishya. And you'll see, I hope we get to the video, you'll see him holding his hand out like this, and he's narrating. The Vikramaditya is another important dance for the drama, because Vikramaditya is considered to be the one who actually brought the dances to Harisiddhi from Ujjain. He brought the goddess Harisiddhi and established the dance tradition. And historically, in the Vamsavalis, they attribute him his bringing of the deities to way back in the Kaligat era. I always have to look at my own article to remember the dates, but it's like it would be Kaligat 2675, for instance. But I mean, that would be like 426 BC. In any case, we know that the dances have been started, stopped, reintroduced for many, many generations, going back at least to the 7th century and probably before. What form they had is not clear, but some of these Sanskrit drama elements are very interesting to note. And so Vikramaditya actually battles the kings of the 4 directions and triumphs over them. And this is one of the reasons, this is another element of Siddhi, in my opinion, for this drama, because the Khadga is featured prominently in this scene. They are fighting with the Khadga and Vikramaditya wins. It could be the Khadga Siddhi is part of what's behind this too, because you see that in other dance traditions in Kathmandu Valley. Mahadeo comes out at a certain point, and this is probably what prompted Saptamuni Vajracharya to send me to the Harisiddhi, is that they have a dance about Mahadeo, and Mahadeo also dances with Agni, Agindyo, and that is definitely a theme story in the Swastani Vratakatha. So it's an interesting feature. And Mahadeo is one of the deities who is danced permanently by one performer for as long as they are alive. And Agindyo is not that way. But again, I think you could say there's sort of a learning relationship there between Mahadeo and Agindyo. In this case, it looks like Agindyo is sort of deferring to Mahadeo. Tamnadyo Rikishwar, we already talked about. Very unique face and mask. And then there is a dance that has the Pulchomaju from the mountain top and Dilchomaju. And in between, it's Manjushri, or also Sikucha Madhyo. And of course, we know that Manjushri has 2 wives. And so this is sort of a story about 2 wives vying for the attention of their one husband. And the case of Pulchomaju is the Nyatuma and the first wife, and Dilchomaju is the Lituma. So actually, Manjushri or Sikuchamadyo is always favoring Dilchomaju because she does the hard work, she does all the good things. Pulchomaju is very haughty, she's interested in jewelry. You can see from her headdress, she's very well adorned. And she just can't say enough about how she doesn't like the fact that he has a second wife. And you can see Manjushri is always patting Dilchomaju on the shoulder. And then we have the 3 main deities of the drama and of the shrine. But you have to consider Ganesh is one of those two. So it's 3 plus 1. These are their faces. If you look at Balandyo, it's actually androgynous with a mustache on one side and not on the other. And Mudyo is, it could be Bhadra, it could be like Ugratara, but also Gautam Bhadracharya was looking at one of the inscriptions that I had transcribed and noticed that she's referred to as Sri Bhogini. And that's kind of an unusual connection because there are only 3 known references to Sri Bhogini. It's a later inscription, but if that's the case, it definitely identifies, the inscription does, these 3 identifies them and refers to them as Sri Bhogini. There's another picture of the deities with the manuscript showing the masks and so on. And that inscription was dated Nepal Samvat 783. So it's an interesting thing to contemplate. There's only 3 other known places in South Asia where the Sri Bhogini comes up, but clearly that appellation could also mean that one of the kings considered her, considered this to be Sri Bhogini. And there might be other kings who see the Tri Shakti differently. This is another view of the Balandyo, Harisiddhi, with the half mustache, the androgynous form. There's also a beautiful Dharani manuscript that Ashkaji Pandit in Patan shared with me, showing the Tri Shakti. And you'll notice that the center one has a sword and also a skull cup. The sword, I think, is significant for understanding the Siddhi, again, the Khadga Siddhi possibility. I'm going to skip ahead here. And this is the Nasadya form that you would see behind the Kalash in the temple of Harisiddhi, but it's kept covered in secret. It's an 18-arm form of Nrityanath. And you see here Nasadyo in another painting. And that Nasadyo shows up on the trunk of the red Ganesh. Let's see, here's another, well, before I go there, showing Kishi and a connection to a Nasadyo painting that has almost very striking similarity. You can see the eyes and even the gajur on top of the head, and so on. So Kishi is clearly connecting with Nasadyo. And then on the Ganesh, red Ganesh image that comes out, Ganesh being one of the other main deities, the Nasadyo is painted right on his trunk in the front there. So again, it's this collection of Siddhi, meaningful Siddhi ideas. Oh, I'm so sorry. So one of the things that the Dyojus told me was that you have Mahadyo as Nrityanath, which is a Siddhi, with Ganadyo, who's also Siddhi, and then you have, so it's like Hara with Siddhi, and that's Harisiddhi. So I kind of like that idea, way of understanding it. But basically, we have a lot of layers of meaning in Jalapyakon. It's very, very involved tradition, and not having one particular single explanation is fine, because there are so many historical layers to the tradition that I think you're bound to run into a few that may contradict, but it doesn't mean that they aren't relevant for understanding what the meaning is in Jalapeaca. And it's so rich. I mean, one day I came and found out that around Jani Purnima, the gods all have to come down from the temple and dive in to the temple pond and swim across, and it's called Dalambuego Tiaka. And this year, when they do this, they're going to be finishing by tying up the bells because they have to prepare and start teaching the next group of inductees into the dance tradition. So nobody can play music while they do that, and they tie up all the bells and so on. In Patan, there is still the Soliagama, although it really degraded over the years, and I think they're renovating it now, or perhaps Anne can mention anything about she knows of it. But the temple Torana, which had the Nasidio and Ganesh, and is no longer there. But you can still see this is where Gayo Juju, who brought the tantric who brought the deities down, lived and maintained a connection with Harisiddhi. The big climax of the Jalapeaca is one of the last scenes, next to last scene, where Sugriv of the Ramayana, or Sukrabir, fights Nangi, and they have a big sword battle, and Nangi is defeated. And here's Nangi with his wife Tara. So I could show a little bit of that. Do we have time to show a little bit of the sword fight? Let's see. Oh, do I have to share? I probably have to share a different screen, right? If I go there.
That is correct, Linda.
Okay. And the other character you'll see here is Ramchandra on the right. And Sukrabir is on the left there, and Nagid has the big headdress. Here you see Bali is trying to beg Rama to help him. But ultimately he doesn't get that support. And you can hear him singing behind the mask there. And then Bali turns his direction for Nagi to the tree Shakti and asking them for their blessing. And he still doesn't really get anywhere with that. And Sukravir is still fighting him. And because Bali is so strong, Nangi is so strong, he can't really, it's hard for him to defeat him. But what he has to do is he has to get the sword from the Mudyo. The Mudyo has a sword. You can barely see it there. And so he's about to get it. Okay. Okay, so now Sukravir is going to get that sword. He grabs it, and now he will have his Siddhi. He'll have the Shakti to defeat Bali, and you can already see that Nangi Bali is starting to swoon, and he gets just gradually weaker and weaker and weaker. I'll jump ahead here just a little bit. You can see here he's actually sitting down in front of the shrine, so weak he can't even stand up. So I know we're getting close to the end of the talk here. Let me just I'm trying to remember what number to go to. I think it's right near the end, right? Okay, and this is the end for Bali or Nangi. He collapses and they take him off, and basically after that they dance with the head of they dance with the head of Nangi. Sukravir has a fake head. So let's see, where's my share screen again here? I go back to okay, so I think I should stop there, although here's a final picture of the temple. And just as I was looking at some of my pictures from 2012 when I last visited, I noticed that there was an inscription up on the temple roof line right under the eave. And now I want to know what that says. But I'd like to thank everyone who has helped me to do research in Harisiddhi. Kedar Maharjan and his family were very instrumental in helping me to come back to Harisiddhi in 2012, at a point when I didn't think I would ever get back there. But all the people in Harisiddhi were just so generous with their time and helping me to understand things. And they have such a lovely tradition there. And I'd like to just invite Kedar to say a few things if he has some comments about things. And thank you all very much.
Yeah. Actually, like the temple of Harisiddhi is like a 4-story. There are only like 2 4-story temples in Nepal. One of them is Nala Bhagwati, and the other one is Harisiddhi. So this is one of the 4-story temples, the 2 4-story temples in Nepal. Yeah, we were just discussing about, Linda has mentioned about the 10 Chabus, 3 Ganeshas, 1 Beta, and the 15 other gods. The 10 Chabus are very much similar to like the management team of the whole dance drama. So they take charge of the whole dance drama for the 12-year period. So they go to the head of state every 12 year and get that sort of like lalmor or contract to run the dance drama for the 12-year period. So this year as well, like I've learned, like they have already been there for the induction for next 12 years, and I think it was just like a couple of few weeks back they went to the Rashtrapati Bhavan and got the contract to run the 12-year dance drama for in Harisiddhi. The next 3 gods like Palladia, Mudia, and Kumaridia. These are the main 3 gods that perform in the morning as well. They perform as the gods of 10 directions, and the one in the yellow mask is Palladia. And my family, like we are in the lineage of Palladia family. The middle one is Mudia. They call as Matsyendranath, but I'm not very much sure about that. And the third in the blue mask is Kumaridia. Yeah. So this is the morning one. Linda, if you could put the evening one.
Or the evening one?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay, I'll try to find it.
Yeah.
I have the picture of their 3 faces. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
These ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the evening one. We also call it like Adi Shakti, the one in yellow mask. That's like half male and half female. That's Harisiddhi. The middle one is Tri Shakti, that has got like a 3-eyed goddess. You can see the eye in the middle as well. And the third one is Rudra Shakti Kumari. Yeah. So these are the main goddesses of Harisiddhi. Yeah. Yeah. You want to continue with the Gachi, Linda?
Oh, the Gachi?
Yeah.
Well, I have that.
Yeah.
No, I was just I was trying to find that one picture that you had of the 3 together, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay.
In my PowerPoint. It's not there in the PowerPoint.
So this, the induction, like it takes place like every 12 years. So if someone passes away, like within that 12 period, even if it is the first year or the second year or the 10th year, they only induct on the 12th year. So that is like how it takes place. So this year, my elder brother is also going to be inducted because my father passed away in 2012. So it'll be a new team joining in September. Yeah. You want to add anything, Linda?
Can't really think of anything. I guess we should open it for questions, although we're already at 9 o'clock. So
yeah.
Is it okay to have questions? Ramesh?
Yeah, that will be great. Yeah.
Yes, Linda. So if you can stop sharing, then possibly we can start the question. I will Prajwalju and I will be as moderating on that.
Okay.
So we have so many personalities here in our Zoom. So is there any questions that you would like to ask to Linda or Kedarzu? Miranda,
May I
I think
open up?
that you have some.
May I open
Yes,
up the?
Sakya?
Yeah.
I just
So Linda Ju, I was wondering the word Jala. So did you find any kind of etymological evidence that why that particular place or the dance is used the word like a Jala? Is there any evidence did you find in your study, or because the Jala represents like in Sanskrit is holy water, and
Right.
then the people of that area is also Jala. So why the newer word is not available instead of Jala? Is there any significance of using the word Jala in that area? I'm just curious, I just.
Yeah. Well, it's also referred to as Jaladesh or Jaladesh in the older inscription, or some of the Vamsavalis, and Jeshtapur.
Jestapura, okay.
Yeah, Jeshtapur is another name. I also wondered about the connection with Jal, because I know the Harisiddhi Yogis come down from Pulcho, and they also manage this Godavari thing,
Godavari Mela.
the Godavari Mela, right? So, I mean, it could be that there's a connection with water from that, and it's only every 12 years that they have that Mela, but it's sort of coordinating the water coming from there. But
So when people say that I'm going to that area, how they use the phrase, I'm going to place Jala. So how they use that phrase in that, language, in their dialect? Jalewanu or Jalakewanu, or did you hear any kind of a phrases? Oh, I'm going to that place, blah, blah. I just trying to figure out, because my interest is on dialectical variations,
Right,
and
right.
all the I'm trying to figure out the cognitive form from the ancient language of that area. So it makes me come interesting to figure out when the Jala is not in our word and borrowed from Sanskrit, and then if they use in an everyday life of our language, so how they use that. I'm just curious if you have any kind of recorded voice or recorded evidence or anything, so you come across with it.
Well, for me, I've always heard them say Jaladesh,
Jalade, okay.
or Jaladesh.
Jalade, okay.
Yeah, but I don't know what Kedar.
Maybe Kedar may have because he belongs to that area. So, so how do you call?
The current spoken language, what they call is Jalewanu, because that is the short form of maybe Jaladelewanu or Jalewanu.
Okay.
Like, for example, for me from Jala, if I'm going to Kona, I would say Kona Wunu, not Kona
Right.
Wunu, not Kokana Wunu, Kona Wunu.
Mhm.
So maybe that is the short form of Jaladelewanu, Jalewanu. Yeah.
So definitely not from the Jalaka.
No, not from Jalaka.
Okay. That's all from me.
Yeah, thank you for the question. And let me just move to Miranda, sir. Miranda?
Okay, so actually, I just wondered, this is a very basic question. Is Harisiddhi a place?
On the maps, yes.
Okay, in other words, the dance is named after the place, but the
Right.
dance is called this Jaladesh or whatever word.
Jalapyakon is the name of it in Newari, yeah.
All
Right?
right.
Kedar?
Yeah, Jalapeka is the name of
Okay,
word.
okay. So
And Jala is the
okay.
place. Yeah.
So I thought it was a deity name or something. So I just wondered, I mean, you just got such amazing photographs, even though it's a dance.
Mhm.
And so clearly you had a huge amount of cooperation. So were they posing for a lot of I mean, you got them at a still moment, or were you actually doing?
Oh, yeah, they were just, just taking pictures during the dance. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well done. Wow. Very impressive.
I have a lot of video, and I wish I could have shared that more. If you're interested sometime, Miranda, we can definitely
Okay.
share
we
that
need
with
to-
you if you like.
Okay.
But it was just not practical in a Zoom meeting to show a lot of video.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about it at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miranda. So I have one question for Linda and one for Kedar.
Yeah.
So Linda, yeah, what I've seen is that in Kathmandu Valley, what happens is that whenever we talk about the Deopyakan, is mostly the Deopyakan are the related with the Astamatrika. So in this case, in Harisiddhi, how is it related? We are mostly, as it's when we are going through that, I just related that to the Ramayana with Rama and Vikramaditya, who was the king of one part of the India, right? So it was related to that. So is it something to still, is it has to something to do significance with the Astamatrika, or is it purely the different from Astamatrika? Linda.
I think it's very different from, there's nothing in the Pyakan in Harisiddhi that relates to Ashtamatrika per se. There's a dance at the very beginning I didn't mention, which is a dance of the 10 directions done by what they call the Chaudi. They're not matrikas, they're male kings of the directions, like you would have in a mandala arrangement of kings protecting the directions. And they dance that 2 by 2 for 5 dances in the morning. So there's 2 kings dancing together and then another 2 sort of lining up along the axes. So, but it is, I would say definitely, you know, this is very much a Diopyakan because they become Diojus for such a long time. I mean, this is really a lifetime commitment when you're inducted. In the case of Ashtamatrika traditions elsewhere, usually it's for a 1-year cycle that you're inducted to perform. In the case of Gompyakan, it's done every year, but you don't necessarily have to maintain sort of vows of you know, not eating certain things during the year for in the case of Gompyakan, or in the case of I don't know about Navadurga, honestly, maybe very, and you know about Navadurga, but I think most of the other traditions are more temporary and ephemeral. Bhadrakali, Pachali Bhairav, they do that once every 12 years. And during that year, the performers have to observe niyam while they're performing and throughout that year. But usually in those traditions, they cremate the masks at the end of the year. So there's a birthing of the deities and then a killing them off at the end. We're not really killing them. they die at the end. And in Harisiddhi, you have to go to the Pits. There's Pita Puja in the 12-year cycle to re-energize them, but they don't really have a ceremony where they're shut down, except, you know, they have the closing of the doors of the temple for beginning the new induction, but that's almost immediate. So it's a different tradition, definitely. I'm not sure if Sikali has a similar induction thing. I have to find out about that.
And just to add on that, like in Harisiddhi, like there's no mention of Astamatrika dance.
Yeah.
No one mentions about Astamatrika.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of people confuse it. They say, oh, Harisiddhi, that's Ashtamatrika. But there's nothing Ashtamatrika about it.
Thank you both, right? I have a question for Kedar now that you were saying that the 4th story of temple, right? And is there any significance of this 4th story? Is there any story or any significance, right? Is there any real meaning why it is 4th story rather than 3 or 5? Normally, we see that all these temples, they have in the odd number 3 or 1, 3, 5, something like that.
I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure about the 4th story. What is the story behind the 4th story temple? What I heard from our forefathers were like, it used to be like a pit before where the temple is situated. And during the reign of King, is it Pratap Malla, like he built the temple over there, the 4-story temple. So I'm not sure the real, meaning behind the 4-story.
Yeah, there's some inscriptions that date back to Nepal Samvat 786, 87, 89 that was building a tier between it having each of the 9 Gajurs. So I don't know, but that related to Srinivas Malla from Patan. But there's also earlier Yoganarendra, right? Or maybe he's later. There's so many dates in the chronology. If any of you are interested, I can share that to you. It's in this e-Daboo volume that they published in Harisiddhi.
Yeah, thank you. I have one more.
Yeah.
And then this Pyakon, right? This your Pyakon, how do you connect with our tantric ritual or the spirituality? Is there any story behind it?
They do have this like a Dev Boli when they perform those bolis behind the mask whilst they are dancing as well. So that Dev Boli is only known or understood by the deities only. So it is not like published, or it is not like well known by other people. So it is only the deities like who know that Dev Boli that they recite whilst they're dancing the lachi. So Linda, would you have like any information on this?
I think it really comes along in the induction when they initially are inducted. There's a time period that they spend in the temple with their gurus, and they really have to learn those songs, and that's a very laborious process. It's not easy from what I understand, because singing is like one syllable at a time. I've been practicing Charya singing with Prajol's temple, and that started me getting an appreciation for going slow with recitation. So if you're thinking, you're consciously slowing down and thinking about each of those bowls and what do they mean. I think that's part of it. And there's a constant connection with your guru. So you move up through the tradition. Every year they meet with their guru to talk about and go through things.
So Guru means that it's like it's in their own traditions with the Maharjan.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, in the guru in their lineage of deities in the dance drum. They also have a Brahmin, Rajapadya Brahmin, who helps with the induction ceremonies. But they don't, from my understanding, they don't go back to him to get teachings or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a guru, Adi Guru, maybe you could say Gayo Juju, the tantric from Patan who brought them down, might have had a hand in that. But that, I don't know, Kedar, do you agree with that?
Yeah, Rajapadya gurus, like they have this period of like induction. It's around like 6 to 7 months. From September it starts, every 12 years. So I think they have got like all that information, and they pass on the teachings and everything to the new recruits, new inducted deities.
So sounds like this need to be preparations for a long period of time. I mean, how long it will be take you, to do the preparations, to training new people like every 12 years. So now it's the time, actually next year will be the other one.
Right.
Actually, it is on September 9th or 19th this year.
This year.
Yeah, September 9th, I think. And my brother is going to be inducted this year as well. So So it takes like, they have to live in the temple for, I think, minimum of 3 months, something like that. And they have to bathe in the evening, like let's say 1 o'clock at night. And they perform the pujas every night and learn those, stuff, learn from the gurus every day.
Mm.
So that would be like learning the Dev Bolis, changing their clothes as well. So they won't be able to like wear trousers or jumpers. They'll be changing the whole uniform as well. So they'll have like long hair, and they're not supposed to eat like chicken and smoke, that sort of thing throughout their life.
And also in the Harisiddhi, like when you are observer, you're not allowed to have umbrella and shoes with that leather suit. Is that any significance and a meaning for the umbrella? And that's I hear back in
Yeah. Yeah, when we were small as well, like we were not allowed to wear the leather shoes inside the core area, core town.
umbrella. You're not allowed
Yeah,
to umbrella.
now like they have changed now. They can wear, but I'm not sure about like what is the main reason behind it.
Well, later it makes sense because in
Yeah.
the temple, Muslim in the temples area, because later made with the different animals, so they don't want to
Yeah.
bring it in the temple. So,
Mhm.
but umbrella, I don't know that part.
Well, I mean, as recently as 2012, when we were there, Terry, my husband, Terry Ellingson, was asked to remove his belt when he was videotaping.
Mhm.
And that led to some real problems because he was off on the side where the women do a vrata in connection with this. I didn't mention, but they do a vrata in connection with the pyaka, and they light lamps around the perimeter of the dance platform. And Terry was standing there on the side videotaping, and he got a little too close to the lamps, and it lit his pants on fire. And he didn't have his belt, so his pants fell down.
The women are all screaming and laughing and throwing glasses of water around me, hitting me,
Wow.
everything. You get
Poor
that
Terry.
right?
This is the secret oral transmission right here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, that was fun.
Unfortunately, we had another camera person
Yeah, we had.
filming, and he didn't get that episode on camera. Too bad.
So we have very few questions left now. I'm giving the floor to Riwaz Manandar. I think he has some question for you, Linda.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Promise ji. Hello, everyone. Actually, I had to ask one question that I have seen in some videos. During the Gaijatra festival, the priests of Harisiddhi temple, they actually go to swim into the pond, sacred pond nearby the temple. I think they signify it to going into the water.
Yes.
So, do you have any? Is there any significance of that event or any such hidden meanings?
Kedar, would you like to respond?
Actually, like it takes the swimming. It takes like every year.
Mhm.
But what happens is like after the swimming on the 12th year period, after they finish the swimming, before they go upstairs to the temple, they stop all the music in our city for a certain period of time whilst this induction is taking place. So they tie the bells and everything, so there's no music played inside their core area of our city for 6 months or a year, something like that. So swimming in the pool, like, I'm not sure. Linda, would you want to add anything?
Well, somebody told me that there was actually a Mahadev underneath the water in that tank, a little platform, and they had to swim across as part of the dance. So it's sort of like a Dharma swimming dance or something. But I don't know if that's true. And I did have a look when they emptied the pond to clean it, and I didn't see Shiva
There wasn't
Lingam
anything inside.
or anything, but that is the temple pond, and it's connected with the temple, and all along the temple wall you have inscriptions about the history of and donations and patronage about Harisiddhi. I think it's mainly, in connection with Mahadev and Shiva during Jane Purnima. Everybody, they swim in Patan at the big 5-tier temple. What is it? I can't think of the name. What is the big temple down there in Patan?
Kumbheshwar.
Kumbheshwar.
Kumbheshwar,
Yeah, Kumbheshwar. Yeah. So it could be just that, but it also might have something to do again with the Jala, the name of Jala, and
The water.
yeah, and the
Okay,
water,
thank
connection
you,
with water.
Linda, I have another question. Where can we get your research about Harisiddhi in order to read it or to get additional information about it?
Okay, I don't know, Kedar, is
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
volume for sale somewhere?
Yeah. What we can do is like we can share this the whole article through Facebook or like other sources. We can do that. We can arrange for that.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
thank
Yeah,
you.
if you
Thank
want to
Yeah.
put your email, I could probably send. What I think I would do is put it up on a Google Drive and
Yeah.
then have you access it because my email, it's the PDF, but I don't have the entire volume, which is very interesting, actually. Mine's one article in there. So do we have this in PDF form?
Yeah. We haven't done yet, but we can create one.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
thank
it-
you very much.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
That is great. So the idea of having these kind of information in somewhere, that is really great, that we would like on behalf of Old Newa organization USA chapter. Yeah, we would like to just take that, that part of the job so that we can create somewhere and all the papers would be in the same place. If somebody needs, they can just go there and they can just pull it
Right.
out. That's a very good
Oh,
idea. Ken.
definitely.
Do you have a Google Drive that you could set that up with?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
And then we
can do
could
that.
post it to that or something.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
could be
So
shared to
yeah.
that.
Yeah, right after this, this presentation, then we will just work it out. So Linda,
Okay.
Kedar, Zoo, and
Yeah.
again, yes, with Prozul Zoo, we can just sit and we can just think about it.
I think
So,
that'd be a great idea to just get it available to people.
okay,
Another-
great. Great.
Yeah.
That's a very good one that you asked. Thank you so much for the question. And I have one question that came on the this Syamtha, who is from Kathmandu. And he is really an enthusiast one. Whenever there is any kind of jatra, he is there and he just do the live from Kathmandu. So he is very admirer and of the jatras. And he has a question that he has seen that. Can you tell me why elephant come at the end of Pyakham?
Well, the Kishi, the big blue
Yes, yes.
Kishi elephant comes in the beginning, not in the very beginning, but it comes early in the day.
Early in the morning.
I don't know, there's a Brahmin who's brushing his teeth and bathing in a river. And all of a sudden the Kishi comes in. And I think it's important to have him because of his connection with Nasadyo and making that connection somehow for all the dancers. The dancers actually sing inside that Kishi. That's really interesting to see. But then in the afternoon or in the evening after the battle in Ramayana, then Kishi comes back and they rush him up and down, run him back and forth. And Kedar, is there a guti for that?
Yeah, I think there is one small guti for
Yeah.
the Kishi as well.
I think it's sort of a celebratory thing, but
Yeah.
I think they also associate him with Indra at that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For us, like when we were kids, it was a bit of like the last episode with the Kishi was more of like entertainment for us, just running around behind the Kishi and going round and round in circles.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's more like the Hulu Kishi in Kathmandu at that point. which is a white Indra's Kishi during Indra Jatra. There's a Pulu Kishi
Mhm.
that sort of run up and down during the Jatra. But I think at that point, they play, the Diojus who play the instrument stand up, and they're standing up and playing when that happens. So they're acknowledging it's the end of the drama. You can celebrate, hooray. I
And
don't know.
Linda-
I don't know the real reason why they do it at the end.
Thank you both. He has one more question that he is asking. Is there any relation between Jalapyakya and Fulchoki goddess?
No. Is there a Pulchoki Ganesh? Where is the Pulchoki?
Sorry, it's not Fulchoki Ganesh. It is Fulchoki goddess.
Fulchoki Mai.
Yeah, Fulchoki Mai, you can say, right?
Yeah.
Because Harisiddhi was brought from Fulchoki Mai at the last time. Gaya Baja, like he was in Fulchoki area, and he with his tantric bidis, like all the gods like who were coming down from heaven, like he put the tantric and he was just holding them. He was bringing them to Patan actually from Fulchoki area. So when he reached, when the whole troop reached in Taiba, they heard different noise over there, and they said like, okay, we are not going to,
That was a
you know,
pig.
yeah, it was a
cried,
pig,
right?
wasn't it? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
a pig
that's right.
cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pig cried. So they had to reach Patan before early in the morning. Am I right, Linda?
Yeah, something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Then from Taiba, like they woke up and they just stood and they just walked towards Patan, and they reached an area in Harisiddhi called Niba, where all the Siddhi goddesses are, stored. So over there, like they heard, there was a cockroach, isn't it? Yeah.
Cock crows in the morning.
In the morning. So when the cock crowed in the morning, like they said, like, I'm going to take 100 steps from here, and wherever I reach, I'm going to, place myself over there, and that will be my domain. So that is why, like every dance drama, like all the Harisiddhi, before any dance drama takes place, they have to go to this Siddhi Niva place. They go there, they do their first dance, a short dance over there, and they come running from the top, taking as if like they were taking 100 steps, and they come to Lachi, the main area where the temple is placed now.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a very, very strong link between Harisiddhi and Fulchoki. It is a very strong one.
Yeah, definitely. And then there's on the 12-year Mela, they actually go up to the shrine, up at the top of Pulchoki. It's not an easy thing to do because they get up at like 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning and start climbing that mountain, and it's a big mountain to climb. I've made it twice up there. It's very beautiful.
Including with one motorcycle crash.
Yeah.
So it's been a great, having those kind of information, right, disseminated to our audience. And even, I'm really enlightened about the Harisiddhi and the Deopyakha. So because of the time that we already covered so many things, but still there are so many things, and we would be happy to do, in some other time, again, to continuity of this, maybe the second part we can say, or we can come up with some other ideas on the Harisiddhi. It's been really, people are really admiring, and they have been sending a lot of, positive vibes to us through the Facebook.
Oh, good.
So because of the time limit, that I would like to thank both of you, our esteemed scholars, right, Dr. Linda Iltis, as well as Kedar Mahajan. So at the end, I would like to invite my colleague, Prajwal Ratnavajracharya, and who is the director of this Heritage Division of Old Neva Organization USA chapter. So for your closing remarks, I would like to invite Prajwal Gurjo.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm like the kind of a speechless for the whatever you have been presentation. So it's like the more than I'm learning so much things, it is even like the little things there. It's like it's so amazing that I don't know how to make it this. I mean, living in Nepal and growing up in Nepal, even I'm never again gone through that way. Even I must be gone to see this dance, but knowing about the inside the dance and understanding a little bit about the inside the dance, it's making so much this the culture is so rich, and then having that deities getting transformed and the deities becomes part of the bodies, and it just like a beyond than my thinking. As far I am like I'm a more professionally dancer as well. So in the Charya dance, I mean, we do with the trance and the deities and bring it to the deities and transforming as a deities, and we try to do basically like every day when we need to dance, we need to meditate, we need to recite the mantras, and transformations is naturally happening. But those like a whole uh, communities involved, whole lineage people carry on, and also I mean, so you mentioned that which is the Brikama Ditte, which means the Lispi period. It's been carried on from the Lispi period. It's been the thousands of years. It's been carried on, and also it's just like a learning about the new, completely new for me. Like even like the elephant's god, which is like a Riddhi Siddhi. There's a sons and son, two sons, and then the Manjusri came there with the we call that Barada and Mochida, but it's just like a Polocho Maju and Dilocho Maju. I mean, the Dilocho and the Polocho is basically name of the mountains, and they call Barada and Mocheda. That's a two concert of the Manjusri. It's also part of that. So that means some things which is really deeply connection to the Newar or Nepal originations of the Kathmandu Valley. Something to do with that way. So I was just fascinated, and I hope we can spend more times with learn more about this. And I just learned more things with this. Always very fascinating with this all. So I said thank you for the Linda, and Linda, I have a great connection, and whatever you mentioned that those people is my really connections with the Rajendra sister is my teacher, and Saptamuni Bajrachari is my father's colleague. So I used to connected always with them. And actually the Saptamuni, we also travel to the Hong Kong in 1986 with the Saptamuni. He's also the good in the Charya Nitya as well. So and it's very fascinated everything. So I should get thank you. So and for both of you, and we'll keep in touch with so every month just make sure. And I was not confirming who will be the next one, so I was talking to the
Yeah, we'll announce in Facebook, no, Prajaldu?
yeah, definitely, yeah.
And with the all these questions, again, still there are questions, but I just feel that, right, maybe we should give our speakers maybe 1 minute each for their closing remarks too, right? It's really overwhelming. I mean, but
Yeah.
still, yeah, there are so many questions, there are so many things coming up, but rather than going in the questions, if we have missed anything that you really wanted to say anything, yeah. So first I'll go to Linda, and then I'll go to the Kedarji. Linda?
Well, I'd like to once again thank everyone, to you, Prajal and Pramesh, for inviting me to do a presentation. It's just a really wonderful opportunity for me, because I just retired, and I've been waiting and waiting to work more intensively on my materials, and this really set the fire for me to be able to start doing that again. And it's just I can't thank the people in Nepal enough. I mean, it's all the people, the Newar families who helped me. I really feel a debt of gratitude, and especially the people in Harisiddhi. There was Jo Maju, she's passed away now. She was a wonderful assistant. Rajendra took me to see her in her family because he knew her. He had been to be treated by her, and he said, let's see if she has some ideas. And she was just full of information. She said, I know the songs of all the Harisiddhi gods. And so we sat and listened to her, and she brought in some yogis to talk. But I just really appreciate this opportunity, and I'm very grateful. And I look forward to communicating more often with all of you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Linda.
Kedar.
Now let me go to Kedar. Maharjan?
Yeah, thank you very much to everyone. Thanks for inviting us. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to be on this platform. It's great to have to share all our views and what we've known, what we've learned. Um, Actually, I got the opportunity to learn more about the Harisiddhi after I finished my school. I was in a boarding school in St. Xavier's, Godavari, and it was a boarding till class 6 in 1985 when my father was inducted. So I learned a lot from him because we used to stay in our old house in the inner town of the village, and we lived there for 6 months, 7 months over there whilst he was inducted. So I learned a lot from there. And the main thing now, the main biggest concern over here now is the land over there in Harisiddhi, the endowed land. Now Harisiddhi is transforming from the agricultural aspect. Now it's moving towards urban area. It's like a built-in area. I was showing the pictures and the drone photos, drone video to Linda yesterday. So there are a bit of changes coming around. Now we need to tackle and we need to see how we can move from there, maybe adapt to the changes, or otherwise it'll just be extinct. So let's see. It would be great if we can discuss this with the team from RCD as well, learn their views, learn their experience as well, and we can discuss further on this. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kedar. So I'd be happy to do one session with you. I have the next show with the e-Daboo where you can speak in Khemba or the Nepal Bhasha as well, or we can do in English. Either way is fine. We can bring some concerned people. I mean, the people from Harisiddhi, and we'll do one episode there. So I'll be in contact with you.
Cheers. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Prajalju, I'm just coming back to you now. we have to end the program, but it's ongoing. It's very interesting.
That's
so
right.
do you have anything to add at the end? Otherwise, yeah, we're going to end this.
It will be wonderful to take it the group to see this 12 years, celebrations. I mean, so from the Americas and London's, just to have the dedicated to be there for a whole week of a program, and I learned lots of things. I mean, it will be really, really wonderful to, this is the mind blowing, I mean, the rituals and dance. That's I teach about without dance and the music, there's no way to liberation. So this is the liberation path which has been carried on for the thousands of years. And that's, we need to share this, even I did say, even growing up in Kathmandu Valley, I mean, we just don't get that much, deeper into the learning about deeper. But this is it is such a, I mean, deep, and it's such an amazing, amazing culture. This will be, world should be know about this. We are hidden in the, in a corner, which is nobody talk about, nobody say anything. This is a great, great. I mean, to have, to at least let this platform, it's a little bit, moving forward. So we will want to keep continuous a little more. Also have other class to teach. So I need to go move on to. So, and well, yeah, thank you, Promise. Thank you, Kedar. And then so that's, thank you for Linda. That's great, great. So good to know more about, a little bit about Linda also. I mean, Linda, I know her from the back in the 80s, and we just never, connected with the I mean, I do know what you're doing, lots of work, but you have so much video. So we need to bring that out to the world. So
yeah, we should have just a video only session where I could share some videos.
Yeah.
I will even post this one into the YouTube. So this will be have a save in the YouTube those days. So that's, I'm trying to do more. So.
Great, well said, Linda. That's right. Possibly we can work, or we can just create a project where we can just document this, and we can just store somewhere, right? And for that, right, Ulnewa organization, USC chapter is always there. So we have been trying to be a little bit innovative so that we can show our culture, show our heritage, show our tradition, show our civilization, the Newa civilization in front of whole world. And for that, we need a lot of support, a lot of help, and whatever resources that we can grab it and we can come across, and we can create really a good platform so that we can showcase all Newa civilization. So saying so, thank you so much to all the audiences in Facebook, as well as all the participants, distinguished participants, the scholars, right, from different part of the world, so many different part of the world. I mean, from the Europe, as well as we have some from Canada, some London, France, and so many places. But anyway, thank you so much on behalf of all Newa Organization USA chapter. We are signing off now, Prajwal Gurju and myself. And once again, thank you, Linda and the Kedar Maharjan. We'll be in touch with you. Thank you so much. And
Thank you very much.
yeah, for the audiences, right, we will be announcing who would be our next presenter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.